Hi there, Stephen from DAPT. Really excited today to show you how we can use Microsoft Forms to build a policy acceptance form, add in some really cool features such as a knowledge check at the end, and also make sure we can get this sent out to our users in an effective way. So today's session is going to be comprised of 4 steps. So first step is creating your images from your slides. So first, we're going to add our images or get our slides ready for our policy. So this could be several pages that we're putting together. Now, first, we need to make sure we can export these into files as PNG. So we're going to go to File, Export, change the file type, and then select PNG. That will download all of the files as images for us. Next, we're going to create a form or survey. So from here, I like to use a new quiz. The reason for this is at the end of the form that the users have gone through, they have to do a knowledge check at the end. It's a really good way for them to be able to check their knowledge, make sure they've understood what we've sent out to them. So I'm going to create a new quiz. I'm going to give this quiz a title. Today, we're going to look at a social media acceptance policy. So I'm just going to build that in, give the form a title. And once that's done, I'm going to leave the description blank because I don't need that in there. And I'll go to add new, and I'll choose in the drop down arrow a new section. Now, what I'm doing here is I want to get those slides we just created or those images we've just created and add them into my form. So I'm going to select the image icon, go to insert new image, click on upload, go to the documents or the downloads images that I have for that policy, and I'm going to upload that image. I'm next going to edit the image just by clicking on the pencil and then make sure that image is large on the screen there. So it's really obvious for the users so they can read that. Now, just quick view of that in terms of preview. You can see there I've got that entire slide there inside Microsoft Forms with that submit button. Obviously, it's not quite finished yet. We need to go and add in the rest of the slides. So let's go and add new again and go to new section. And we're going to follow the same process. Again, we can leave the title blank within the section itself. Click on the image icon, click on insert image, go to upload. And when the file explorer opens up, we'll just select the next image. And again, we'll go and edit that and make that large as well. So we'll do this for all of the images. So we'll continue to go and add new for all of the different images that we have downloaded from the PowerPoint presentation earlier. So once that's done, we'll end up with effectively a form that looks a bit like this. So every single section has that large image in there for us to be able to go through and make sure our users can read that. So one of the other things, again, as I mentioned, of why we would want to use maybe a quiz instead of just a standard form is we may want to do a knowledge check at the end. You can see here we've got 5 points at the top. And if I scroll through, you can see now all of these images are in there in each section. So we can see, for example, the scope of the policy, some of the guiding principles, some of the ABCs of transparency, authenticity, various different things that we want to collect to make sure our users understand we can put into sections, and it's a really good way for them to be able to go through and do that. At the bottom here you can see I've put in a knowledge check. So this is a new section that I created. I've added in a few questions in here. So again, I've done some radio buttons for some individual choices. I've marked which questions are correct as well, and given each section or each question a point to answer as well. For some of the questions, I've added multiple select. This allows users that they have to select at least 3 items. And I've also done a reorganize question as well, so making sure they're putting the process in the right order as well, and giving them a point for that. So if we go and preview this form now, you'll notice that the entire form requires me to click through as the end user. So I see the first page, I have to click on next, and I can see my progress as I'm progressing through this form. I can go back to review things if I want to as well. And as I progress through this, it'll give me a nice status update to tell me what page I'm on, so I can see quite clearly how much further I've got to go. So we'll continue to click through some of these slides. So again, just making sure that my end user really understanding all of that information, with, again, the ability to go back and recap on anything that they should wish to. Once I get towards the end, so we are almost there, I will then need to complete the knowledge check. So a couple more slides to go. And once I get to the knowledge check, it's just going to go and ask me to complete the questions that I have. So you can see here, I'm asking which group do this, or which groups does the scope of the policy apply to. I can also ask, do I need to obtain permission to put any content related to company events on there? This is my multiple select ones. So again, it's saying please select 3 options. I've added some validation into there as well. In this one, it's asking for what the ABCs of transparency and authenticity are. And again, I can select as many as I want. I'm not going to force the user to choose the number of options there. And this last section here, this allows me to reorganize the steps in terms of reporting. So I can either use the arrows to move things up and down if I need to, or I can drag and drop items, using the mouse and just dragging them into the right position. But once I'm happy with everything, I can then click on submit, and that will submit my answers. And once I've done that, that'll give me a nice little animation saying I've completed the policy acceptance process. And it will give me my score at the end of that as well. So I can see there I've scored 4 out of 5, and I can go and view the results against there. So I can see if I've made any mistakes, understand kind of where I went wrong with some of the questions. Again, it gives me all of those images as well, so I can actually go back and reinforce that learning and to review the slides as well. So you can see here my correct answers, but this is incorrect, but I can also see what the correct answers were. So it actually gives me the correct answers at the end of this form, which is going to be really useful. Again, this helps with that reinforcement of learning, making sure that I've understood the policy with the options to be able to go and ask anyone for support if I need to. So once I'm happy with that, obviously I can change a few things such as the settings, whether I want this form to be that anyone can respond, whether I really want people in my organization. I can even set start and end dates as well. So maybe we'll want to make sure this policy is completed by a certain end date, and then it can lock it down as well. But then once I'm done that, really what I want to do is go and share this form and collect the responses. So to do that, I can click on the collect responses in the top right of the screen. I can select who's allowed to respond as well. If I wanted to copy a link and just paste that link into an email or somewhere, maybe a page, I could do that as well. But I quite like the collect responses or the invitation option that Microsoft Forms has. So this allows me to edit the text within here and also send it out either through Outlook or through Microsoft Teams. I can select the user or users that I would like to send it to, and I can click send to that. That will then send this quiz or this policy acceptance to my audience that I've so selected. And I'll also get notifications of when people have completed that as well. So this is really useful for me to be able to make sure I can stay on top of chasing up and all of those sorts of things. So in Microsoft Teams, we get a nice adaptive card that gets posted, and in the email, we'll get a nice email that gets sent out as well for the user. Okay, so for the last step, we're going to view the results. Microsoft Forms has some great results graphics. We can actually use the reminding button to send out a reminder to any users that haven't completed the form as well. We can type in our message and click send. So thanks for watching. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video.